we just need to like okay? And I think that's kind of kicking our butts a bit. Guys, are you cool if we do 251 the third and final time? Right? 251 and then on to 250. Okay, here we go. I'll give you 2 bars this time. 1, 2, 3, here we Okay, so that is really, really hard, and that's going to take some rehearsal. If we do this, what I don't want to do is spend any time Wednesday night like, okay, hey trombones, let me hear your thing. Hey saxes, hey trumpets. So everybody take a listen to this, and what I suggest you do, this is what I do anyway, is I put my, I don't even open my music. I just play the tune and I just listen to it, like I'm just digging a tune. And I go, oh yeah, that's really hit. And then I play the tune again while I'm looking at the part. And then I go, oh, I thought it was this, but now that I hear them playing it, it's that. And then I stop the recording, and then I look at my part and I go, man, letter F kicks my butt. I need to take care of letter F, and letter Q, and letter whatever it is. And then I play the chart again and I put them on. So that's my process, and it seems to work. So I want to encourage you to do that. Okay, a couple of things as we're kind of heading towards the end. You're going to see, before you leave, a paper, and it says, I'd like to maybe solo on, and I've identified 4 charts that would be easy to open up to other people. They are Tiptoe, which we did in the first hour, Can't Buy Me Love, which we did that in the first hour, Eternal Triangle is one, and the last one is Tell Me a Bedtime Story. So the other tunes, the way the solos are written and the way the pieces are composed, it kind of just doesn't work to like have somebody else play the solo. But these 4 do. So let's say Jazz wants to maybe play a solo on Eternal Triangle or whatever else. So you're just going to write your first and last name and your partnership, right? And that's all you got to do. And that way, but this is kind of a contract between you and me. If you sign your name, you're committing that you're going to shed those changes before Wednesday. Does that seem fair? Seems fair. So if you, and nobody has to do that, but I just don't want anybody to have this honor jazz band experience and go, man, I really wish I could have played a solo that night. But then you didn't ask me, so I'm not psychic. I'm psycho sometimes, but not psychic. So that will be there for you to check out, okay? The other thing is, in that link that I think Ms. Kellogg sent, there's a bunch of recordings. There are some extra solo chord changes, I think for Eternal. I did some in Finale, I transposed them, and then I think I just photocopied something out of a real book. I can't remember what all I did. But anyway, there's a bunch of resources in there for you to check out. And spend some time listening to the charts, because a lot of things, it's really tough to rehearse something into somebody if they're not kind of familiar with how the tune goes. Okay, so that will be super, super helpful to you and to me both. So that's the thing. The other thing is these posters are going to be here. So please make sure that you take a couple each back to your school and ask your directors to put them up. Because this really is a pretty cool thing, and I think those of you that have gone to it in the past probably had a pretty good experience. I will be teaching at it this summer, but you should go anyway. Okay? That was supposed to be a joke. But you should go because he brings like great players from like New York and LA and the Bay Area and all over Fresno and just all over the place. So check that out. And it seems like there was something else, but I can't think of what it is. So let's play Tell Me a Bedtime Story. This is not really a very tricky chart. If you all look at bar 37, some of you are going to be in front of a band one day. And what I suggest that you do is, when you're in front of a band, think back to all the experiences you have had in your middle school jazz band, your high school jazz band, your college jazz band, stuff like this, other workshops. How many of you guys have been at a jazz festival and had somebody come in and clinic the band like after you play your set? Can I see hands? Pretty common, right? And sometimes those clinics are kind of mess. Somebody comes in and says, "Oh, that was really great," and I'll like your shirt, you know, it's kind of random stuff. Sometimes it's gold. So for myself, both as a guitar player and a director, I try to be like a sponge and just soak up everything I've ever heard from every teacher I've ever had. No one teacher, and especially true of me, knows everything or has the only correct answers. Okay? Your growth as a musician is a result of all the experiences you've had. So I'm really glad you guys are here for this, and I'm learning stuff too. You know, it's just kind of how life is. Anyway, what I started to say was, in this particular student, I'd like to figure out what kind of things I think we might stumble on and rehearse those first. And that way, when we get there, we don't have to stop and everybody feels better about it. So if you can all look at bar 37, here's what you're gonna hear from the rhythm section. And it's, I'm gonna count it off in 5/4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So is that 3, 2, 5, 4, or is that 2, 3, 5, 4? What am I conducting? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So that's kind of how it feels. Rhythm section, can you play me your bar 37? I'll give you 5 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, go. And that happens a whole bunch. The saxes, we have something, saxes have that at 37, but it happens, like I said, a whole bunch of times, and people have different stuff like saxes. If you guys look at 120, what is that? 105. You have a line over that crazy 5/4. And the trumpets, I think the trombones have it with the rhythm, and then the trumpets have a counter line. So anyway, I just want to point that out. Okay, for today, for sake of time, when we get to the solo section, which I think there's changes in the tenor part. So let's go ahead and do that twice through as it's written, and I believe the backgrounds are the second time, is that right? Okay, so that's how we'll do 53, and the blowing, there's a first ending, and it repeats back from 76 back, and then there's a second ending. And then I think from 81 out, I think it's just straight through. Okay, all right, this is a really fun chart. Do you guys know who Alan Baylock is? No. Okay, you know the North Texas Jazz Program, right? So Alan is now, has been for quite a while, directs the 1 o'clock, which is the top band, and they're pretty amazing. And he's a pretty killer writer too. I think he used to write for Airmen of Note, if I'm not mistaken. So this is like our sort of our funk tune, or our rock chart, I guess, so to speak. But it's really hip, and Herbie, I mean, it's a Herbie tune, so it's, you know, it's good. Here we go, at the beginning. A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, and. Before 11, 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to take it 5 before 11. So saxes are 1, ba, 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 and let's do something. Take a look at those bars before 11 and put your pointer finger on any place where you land on a beat. Like I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4 before. What beat do most of us land on? Okay, 4 before 11, what beat do we land on? Trombones and rhythm, what do you got? Beat 4, right? 3 before bar 11, we have beat 2, right? And so if we figure out what beats we land on, everything else lines up. You know what, let's do, I take it back, let's take it at measure 9. Measure 9. A 1, and maybe a couple click slow. 1, 2, here is 1. there's a figure that happens, just gosh, so many different times. Can everybody go back before 33? And let's see, maybe there's another spot. Yeah, that's as good as any. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4 before 33. Actually, 5 before. What I want you to do, guys, is take your index finger. Trust me, this actually does work. And before 33, 1, 2, 3. The fourth bar before 33. Can you put your finger on the quarter note on beat 4? And say to yourself, I will play you on 4 and not earlier. Okay? Go to the next measure. Put your finger on beat 2. Are you going to rush to or play it where it is? Play it where it is, right? Next measure. Okay, where does the syncopation start? This is 2 before 33. Well, the syncopation starts on 3, right? 1, 2, ba ba ba. So, and then the bar before 33. Where do you play right fat on the beat? Beat 2, right? And so what I found is people, like you guys can play really, really hard rhythms, but what happens is we lose our sense of where the pulse is and we play the right thing in the wrong place. Does that make sense? And that's what's happening in this tune. And because it happens so dang many times in the chart, if we don't nail it, it always feels weird, okay? Whereas if we get it together, it's gonna feel great the whole way. So let's do this. Let's start, everybody in the band, before 33. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 before 33. When we get to 33, we're stopping, okay? 5 before, everybody. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, and go. You made an old man very happy that time. Let's see if we can do it again. Go to the end, ish. Where does that happen? Let's look at 116 is great. Thank you, whoever said that. Let's do 116, 116. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 116, 1. The notes are either on the beat or off. You agree or disagree? Those are your options, right? It's on a beat or it ain't. And so I found that once we're really solid on where the points of landing are, everything else feels a super lot better. Okay, a couple things I want to mention to all the rhythm section players. Make sure if you're a rhythm section player, and this is for the cats playing drum set, right? That you know for every letter of every chart what happens there, okay? Because your job as drummers is you're the thermostat and the throttle for the band. And so if letter D were coming